he called Brain Rush. And the question was, do I believe that games can educate? I will go further than that. I know games will be a major part of schools going forward. We are in the middle of a perfect storm of education revolution. Cheap hardware, robust networks, and software that is teaching sometimes 10 and 20 times faster. They're just the start. I believe that most education will be delivered by games with teachers adding nuance. I mean, teachers cannot be effective in a classroom of 20 or 30 or 40 kids. With games, all the learning is one-on-one, and the teachers then have time to spend special time with everybody else. And I believe that you will find people, and it's just not kids, we need to be lifelong learners. And in 10 years, everybody will be able to learn twice, if not 5 times as fast, and a lot of the drudgery will be gone. Imagine school with zero boredom. That's what we're looking at. Most people are drawn to senior side. I mean, if you really look at the number of game players, more people play Farmville than play Call of Duty. But at the same time, there is so much fun, particularly if you're male, to go in and win a war. You know, it just feels good. And I think it's going to continue to be an important game genre, just like movies. There's always a certain amount of conflict and violence in a movie. That's sort of the nature of entertainment. What will happen, though, is as games get more and more sophisticated, they will be able to simulate much more interesting things in life. Like, there has yet to be a really good game about romance. You know? Girls want a game where they can fall in love. You know? Because heaven knows us guys are not cutting it in games. So there are all kinds of new genres that need to be developed that merge story in a more real way with physical activity. And we'll get there. We're just at the beginning of the video game spot. And I was the only guy that gave Steve Jobs a job. After that, he built his own things. And Steve Jobs was a very intense, very, very hard-working man. I used to come into work early, 6:30, 7 o'clock. There'd be one person in the building sleeping under his desk. That was Steve Jobs. He had one speed, and that was on. And people talked about him smelling bad and things like that. He didn't care about showering. He was working. And, he had an active mind. He was always on, and he was creative. And I feel like people who are really engaged in life, who are constantly willing to work. I mean, did you know that the only other guy that I knew that constantly had a futon under his desk? Bill Gates. In the early days of Microsoft, Bill Gates would stay at his office and sleep under his desk. Now, Steve Jobs got very rich. Bill Gates got very rich. Is it because they were smarter, or is it because they worked harder? And I actually think it's a little bit of both. I think that in a lot of ways, people in the technology space seem to think that if they have a good idea, that that's enough. And I'm here to say, no. A good idea is just a key in the door, but the door is very hard to open. And you have to work very hard, very diligently, sometimes for several years. And yeah, how many all-nighters have you spent in your life where you were so engaged in your project that you didn't go to sleep for 48 hours, 2 days, 2-day all-nighter? I've only done about 20. I think Steve Jobs did 100. And then there were other times, but hard work, don't underestimate it, throughout the world. And really want to encourage us all to learn better, learn programming, learn game design, and make the world of games better from a Mexican perspective.
Trabajo en educación de juegos. Me gustaría que hubiera mejores juegos, mejores diseños, mejores... más educada.
Are there any questions that you guys would like to ask? And sort of been, I think, abused